Okay, so guys, welcome back. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Shroud of the Avatar. Okay, so the game is loading right now. And yeah, I decided to I was like monitoring the typhoon like yesterday. Well, the typhoon has passed, but obviously it's somewhere else, and if the typhoon is in your vicinity, again, please be safe. Make sure you have food and water and light. Make sure also your devices are fully charged in case power ran out. Okay, so while I was doing that, or yeah, that inspired me to do this. Okay, maybe it's a good idea to also like take a look at content or videos made about Shroud of the Avatar. And while I'm playing the game, I'm also going to watch this one, which I found, and this one is from MMO Byte. Yeah, this is from MMO Byte. The title is Exposing the Multi-Million-Dollar Scam MMO We Can't Allow to Happen. Whoa, okay, those are powerful words, okay. This was like posted or shared on April 14, 2022. Well, 3 years ago. Okay, so let's go and take a listen to what MMO Byte is, what do you call this, calling a scam MMO. I'm pretty sure it's not Shroud of the Avatar. Let's take a look. Well, it's loading. It's gonna be very slow, I think.
This might be one of the biggest MMO scams I have seen in the entire genre since Chronicles of Illyria. Now, if you don't know what Chronicles of
Whoa, it's a scam, okay. What could it be?
By Kira TV over on his channel, but this game in specific, is from Richard Garriott. He's the guy.
Richard Garriott? Who could it be?
Shroud of the Avatar is actually an MMO that opened a Kickstarter page years ago. They ended up amassing 22,322 backers and managed to have almost $2 million pledged. Quick shout out to our patrons over on Patreon. This allows you to directly support us if you're interested. Every patron will have their name appear at the beginning of every single YouTube video, and you'll be immortalized in the MMO genre forever. This is from the same guy that cut off a part of his hair to raise money for Shroud of the Avatar. This is from the same guy that was selling his blood to raise money for Shroud of the Avatar.
Oh, it's not Shroud of the Avatar. They were talking about, or he was talking about something else.
Is building a blockchain MMO following the failure of Shroud of the Avatar.
Okay.
Mental failure. Like, people think New World was a failure. They have not seen how buggy, how broken, and how few people actually play this game. Richard Garriott.
So it's not Shroud of the Avatar. I thought so. This is my first time watching this, by the way.
To mainstream gamers is a multi-millionaire originator of Ultima Online and business partner Todd Porter.
There's nothing wrong in being a multi-millionaire, okay? Nothing wrong. If you're a billionaire, there's nothing wrong in being a billionaire. If you're poor,
they are very evidently trenching.
I guess there's nothing wrong with it as well, if it's a choice.
Way too hard to become part of this metaverse, and it shows. Now, the new studio, D-Meta, will share the top a top-down isometric perspective of the original Ultima Online with a range of adventuring content. Funding for the game will be sourced both from traditional investment as well as an NFT land sale, while acknowledging that crypto games aren't traditionally
So it's an NFT game. Okay, interesting. Usually crypto-based games are, well, not, I'm not saying all of them, but many has been, I guess, many has been scammed.
That crypto games are bad games by design. If you're aware that crypto games are not received well by players, why is that the business model that you are pursuing? Why are you using that as in terms of accumulating money to fund your game's development?
Weird, right? Okay, weird.
Nobody wants this. Yet you're still developing your game using this as a foundation. In Ultima Online, when people start buying and selling shops on eBay, we have to go through the trouble of going, like, well, how do we feel about it? Do we want to stop it? Because we haven't guaranteed the sale will actually be persistent. And we're not getting anything out of it, Gary, at Cold PC Games. All we get from people trading items is risk and complaints. The blockchain is a way to clarify the economics in a way that is very fair and consistent between the players who are buying, selling, and trading these virtual assets. So they are legalizing item sales for real money trading. This is a bad direction to take their MMO. We note here, for the record, that we were offered a chance to interview Garrett about this new game, but we were told we could not ask about the many outstanding issues and irregularities revolving around Shroud of the Avatar, which are obviously critical when it comes to the credibility of any new Garrett project, so we declined to participate. So they had the opportunity here to interview Richard Garriott himself to acquire knowledge about their upcoming MMO, but they had a few questions that they wanted to ask, specifically concerning some of the issues that were very prevalent in Shroud of the Avatar. He specifically stated he did not want to talk about any of them. The only way, massively OP.
Well, I guess it makes sense. It's a different game. But yeah, it's kind of shady.
No, come on. Massively OP. You might like them, you might not like them, but at the end of the day, they are journalists, and journalists have this obligation to ask the hard questions. This just comes off really shady to me. For those not aware, Shroud of the Avatar,
See?
MMORPG that was heavily funded.
See?
By way of a 2013
He even said that. I said it sounds shady.
whaling packages and an
And he said
$800
it's shady.
during which Portalarium claimed a valuation of $25 million. However, the game was mired by controversy, layoffs, delays, design issues, and ultimately a tiny player base. I've played Shroud of the Avatar. I played it during its test phases. I played it when it launched, and I saw maybe a grand total of 2-3 people over tens of hours worth of recording. Garriott himself stepped down, the new CEO denied taking over, Portalarium shuttered its office, and then it abruptly folded outright and transferred Shroud of the Avatar to a newly formed indie studio. Through it all, company reps stonewalled and insulted press and dodged legally required SEC filings and accountability to seed investment investors as recently as this very year. Now, regarding the layoffs, it looks like back in June 2018, they made a public statement going on to claim that they are adjusting their team size to better match our current monthly revenue.
Yeah, I wonder what happened to the seed investments.
While ensuring that we can support the online service.
I guess it's a loss, right? It's a loss. You know, investments are very risky. Either you make money or you lose money. It's an investment.
Shutting down their physical office. The reason given for this is that this will free up revenue spent on that physical office space, as well as commute time for actual game development, with Richard Garriott already supposedly working on the game remotely. So in 2018 they downsized, in 2019 they shut down their studio, then in October 2019 a public statement was made that went on to claim that Shroud of the Avatar was moving from Portalarium over to Catnip. Catnip is another studio, an indie studio actually, that was given rights to not only develop but also publish Shroud of the Avatar. After several years of
Was that the right term to use? Was given right or rights? I thought it was sold for $1.
Although, as evidenced by the fact that
Or maybe I'm confusing things.
Shroud of the Avatar, we all know that was a lie. Now, concerning the insulting of press, this is actually something that I am genuinely interested in because developers should never be actively, aggressively attacking people, journalists, reporters that are responsible for creating hype or destroying hype for your game. Now, there was a post made that goes on to state the false negative image the game has outside our community is the biggest dragon we have to slay to expand our user base. I'm working on lots of promotion options to get us in front of more users, but I'm always open to ideas.
Okay, so I turn off the background music. Yeah, it's weird that it has the background music while listening and watching a video.
It's sadly just human nature that everyone loves watching a train wreck. I totally get that, so our challenge.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, if you go in Twitch, there are a lot of live streamers that or viewers watching live streamers just to see those live streamers do stupid shit.
But month after month, moderate success and perseverance, meh, no one will click that. That is not true. People report on New World every week. People report on New World every month. New World has seen a very slow, steady resurgence.
New World, yeah, I thought, yeah, the latest on New World is that it won't receive any updates anymore. Okay, yeah, I guess it's right that people are still covering New World. Which is true, especially with the latest announcement or update, if you can call that an update.
It needs, if it wasn't, as they stated, a train wreck, which it is. And having the CEO of the developer of the game lash out like this and attack people is only going to provide more fuel for the funeral pyre.
That is not a good thing. Honestly, that is not a good thing.
Rasa through NCSoft, though of course that game was shuttered after only a year and a half online. Korean press.
I never understood that.
Disaster. All of
never. I think it's a
financial disaster after.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's not exclusive to the gaming industry.
All of this is to say that even without.
But then again, Shroud of the Avatar did nothing wrong. Okay, Shroud of the Avatar is blameless.
RPG players, if we were even the audience to begin with. And then there's an update at the end of the article. It gets wilder. Chris Spears, the developer behind Catnip Games, the guy that actually insulted reporters, that insulted press, which is the outfit that Portalarium transferred Shroud of the Avatar to, says that he is working with Todd Porter and Richard Garriott to help build a strong foundation for a new game. Before anyone else speculates, no, I did not sell Shroud. Nothing will change with Shroud except more awareness, and Shroud development will continue as it has. I can, however, confirm that I am working with Todd Porter and Richard to help build a strong foundation for a new game. This is actually the thing that I have mentioned a number of times on streams that was secret, but that was consuming the bulk of my time. I can't say much except that I'm still heavily involved in Shroud, and that new games take a long time to make, especially when you do them right, and the new game will be done right. Yeah, a crypto game.
I wonder what happened to that crypto game.
Specifically, not aimed at MMO players, with the developers, the CEO themselves actively admitting that every game that is built as a crypto game, this game in specific even, is going to suck. You're actually claiming that this game is going to be done right and this game is going to be good. Because that's believable. I'll be able to share more info as Todd and Richard do more reveals, but that is on their schedule, not mine, and again, not impacting Shroud in any way other than raising awareness. Sounds like I might need to do a Friday stream after all. And the comment section is just lit up with
of course, the comment section.
Shroud of the Avatar, tearing into Richard Garriott, tearing into this game, NFTs, crypto games, everything you could imagine. Shroud of the Avatar was a financial mess. This game is attempting to jump on the hype that is crypto gaming, that is NFTs, that is the metaverse trying to.
Oh, not the metaverse. No, the metaverse has existed for a long time. I don't know how it got associated with crypto gaming. Second Life is a metaverse, but it's not involved in crypto gaming. It doesn't have crypto. Or the currency used by Second Life is not based on the blockchain.
Just like we did with Chronicles of Illyria. And as much as I hate to say it, it's actually probably going to be hilarious to watch.
Oh, okay. I guess that's it for that one. So basically, it's not Shroud of the Hour that is a scam, but the this supposedly new MMO that they were making, which I don't know what happened to it. This video was from 2022. It's 2025 already. So I wonder what happened to the blockchain crypto MMO. Maybe it's called Ass of the Avatar. Okay, let's see here. Ooh, look at that. This sounds interesting. From Kira TV. From Kickstarter to court. Okay. $15 million taken. 10 years developed. Complete failure. Let's go check this out. I can't say if I had seen this or not. Maybe not. Again, this is from
some of you as Lord British, the creator.
This is from Kira TV. Again, it's 15 million taken, 10 years developed, complete failure by Kira TV.
Creator of the Ultima series.
Hello, Richard. I'm a big fan of Richard.
From a legendary developer who had built.
I'm somewhat disappointed with Richard, but it doesn't mean I'm not still a fan of Richard.
The man who in some ways gave birth to some of the most popular game genres and mechanics still used to this day. It's a game that he promised to participate in together with his fans. All he needed was their support. Their money, of course. He would deliver an experience unlike anything that existed, a game to shake up the stale MMORPG genre and bring it back to its roots. Instead, players were left disappointed, and tens of millions of dollars that they pledged to create this dream was wasted. This story has a beginning, a middle, and the end is still being written. But let's go back to the start.
Okay, so it hasn't ended yet. I wonder what story this is.
Together we will forge a new world.
Yay! Let's do it, Richard!
Well, he's
Richard!
the name Lord British before. Well, that's Richard Garriott, or at least what he likes to be called. Born in England to two men.
There's nothing wrong with you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with that. If he wants to be called Lord British,
he was diagnosed with
fine.
at the age of 13, which essentially killed.
It's not wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. For example, if you want to be called Kira TV, that's fine as well.
He'd been exposed to the many brilliant worlds.
It's okay.
The works of Tolkien being one of his all-time favorites, and with the rise of Dungeons and Dragons bringing that interactive element, he was hooked. In 1975, Richard was exposed.
Whoa, this is like a history of Richard Garriott.
He convinced his school to.
Again, I don't remember. I don't remember if I have seen this. This is not a new video. This is like an old one.
Throughout high school, Richard claims to have created 28 or more video games, essentially by himself. And this is what they looked like back then.
Now it's time to battle a dragon. Oh my god.
Yeah, okay, true. Most
far cry from what we see being
most games back in the, that is not. People shouldn't be insulting that, because those games are like that back in the day.
And still creating games. This time though, they had graphics.
Oh, I fell down a level. fell down a trapdoor that does reduce your health by a little bit.
A literal game changer. This added an element to his games that were previously missing, and the boss of his summer job at Computerland recognised that fact. He convinced Richard to sell copies of the game, as it was truly unlike anything else that existed. Richard spent $200 to bag up copies
maybe
of the game,
because
along with artwork made by
it
his
did
father, and started
back in the
selling.
day. Again, this is back in the day.
Only 12 copies were ever purchased. But one of those 12 made its way to California Pacific Computer Company. And
Although I never played them back in the day because, yeah, having a PC back in the day is like really expensive.
$50,000 in Richard's pocket. Adjusted for inflation, that's about $600,000 today. Richard had just earned more than 3 times his father's astronaut salary, and this was just the very beginning. His game, Akalabeth, is considered the first ever computer role-playing game that was published. He then entered the University of Texas and continued to develop video games to continue honing his craft. This time with the Ultima series. The games, however, were becoming so popular that it left him completely unable to focus on school, so he left in order to pursue full-time launching of games just as he finished Ultima 2 in the early 1980s. At this stage, Richard and his small group of friends were responsible.
Well, if you're already making money,
RPG video games, and
why go to school?
debating and pushing boundaries on what
So
was
why waste your time going to school when you can make more money?
each new piece of technology
People go to school so they could make money in the future. But if you're making money now, why stop making money just to go to school?
His father and another man by the name of Chuck. They
I don't know.
video game publisher,
I think that was a
Origin
smart
Systems.
idea.
Prior to this, they were relying on third-party companies, but they were burned on Ultima
And
2's release.
I think he did well for himself.
On hands for Ultima 3.
There's like a lot of
2 years later in
people,
1992,
maybe even
Electronic
billions, who
Arts
went to
approached with an
school
offer of $30
and
million to purchase Ultima
never
An offer
made
that was
anything
quickly
of
accepted.
themselves. Like,
This not only made the Garriers
well,
incredibly rich
I,
from something they
I
created
didn't
mostly out
go
of
to
passion,
college, but
but also gave
yeah,
them the funding to go
maybe
on
that's the reason why I
take the
never
Ultima
made
series
anything
of
of myself,
games to the very
because
next level, where
I didn't go to
the
college.
Ultima game was essentially unpaid labor of those creating it. The next game had a budget on EA's dime of $2.5 million.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
A terribly small sum of money in today's video game market, but back then,
Oh, come
it was
on.
ridiculous.
That is still a lot of money. Okay, that is still a lot of money.
RPG genre, one that he hadn't created. It was called the Graphical Multi-User Dungeon, commonly referred to as MUD. Examples being the AOL version of Neverwinter Nights and Meridian 59. These games took place on the internet, another new technology that Richard was keen to explore. The internet was an insane evolution, much like that of introducing graphics to text-only games, as Richard had been the pioneer of more than a decade before. This time, they were adding players in a shared world, and Richard saw the possibility of what he could do with that formula, as well as where he could improve it. The idea was pitched to EA, and Ultima Online was now greenlit. It was very important to us that Ultima Online be a game with a theme, and a story, and quest, and then support larger, grander activities. We don't want it to just be player controlled and dominated, we want it to be an Ultima experience, with all the qualities that people expect.
Oh, I tried playing 1998 UO, not the 1997 one, because there is a new server called 1998 UO, or UO 98. I believe that's the actual name. So UO 98. I gave it a try, and wow, it was hard to play. It was hard to play. Classic UO is a step forward to, I guess you can say, enjoying UO more.
So we are surprised less often than ever.
But I still tried. I gave it a try. I have a video of it. I even live streamed UO 98. Of course, if you guys are looking for that experience, well, now you do. Just go and search for UO 98. I only played it for an hour, and I thought I'll be able to keep playing it, but it was
from
It was hard to play, at least for me.
popularity of his creation and what he did.
But I'm pretty sure there are people out there who are looking for that
RPG
same
that
experience.
launched the revolutionary game Ultima Online and given it a name, an MMORPG, massively multiplayer online role-playing game. A name that sticks with the genre to this day, over 25 years later. Shortly after meteoric success and in the year 2000, Richard resigned from Origin Systems, his company that was now owned by EA. Once his non-compete expired a year later, he moved to do business with his Korean competitor, NCSoft. While Richard had been birthing a genre in the West,
Okay, so I was like, this is like the history of Richard Garriott.
RPG titled Lineage. NCSoft had headhunted this man, and they wanted him to do for them what he did for EA. They gave him a massive budget and free rein to develop his dream MMORPG with current technology. This was the next chapter in thus far an incredible legacy. For the next 7 years, Richard Garriott developed his dream, a mix between his love of RPGs and his first love, space.
Tabula rasa. I've never played.
Over time, it's
Again, when this game was released, I don't think I still have a PC.
The game
When did I
was a complete dud. The video
I don't remember.
was now
I
flourishing
don't remember when
with
I
popular bet
first
things.
got
The
my
MMORPG genre
my own
had famous
PC.
titles like World of Warcraft by
Oh,
Blizzard.
2008. Well,
These
I
were
already
player
have
attention, transcending
I already have a PC, my own PC, in 2008. So I don't know why I
and
never
did nothing much to refine
played
it.
this.
Within the year of launch,
Or maybe it was
Richard
never
Garriott
released
consistently
in
parted ways. This time,
the
Richard
region where I
progressed
am
into his prior life
in.
goals.
I don't know.
He now wanted to go to space, not as a NASA astronaut.
There's nothing wrong in wanting to go to space. I don't see anything wrong. I want to go to space.
Cost Richard $30 million.
Will I ever go to
This
space?
became the second ever second.
It's not
mission
gonna
into
happen. But
space,
wanting
being
to
that his father
go
also
to
made the
space,
trip.
there's nothing wrong with it.
Upon return,
It's like
Garriott continued
wanting to
his
go to
civil
Mars.
lawsuit
Elon
against
Musk
Ubisoft
want to
for
go to
handling his
Mars.
employment, a case that he won.
I think.
Awarded $28 million,
There's nothing wrong with that.
essentially paying off his entire space adventure. With cash in hand, goals accomplished, and a newfound
Ah, come on. There's nothing wrong in spending money on what you want to do.
He could leave it all behind. Already a pioneer.
You can spend millions on your passion. There's nothing wrong with that. If it's your money, go spend it. That's why you earned it. There's a reason why you make money. You work to make money. And that reason is to spend it.
But that could partially be blamed on NC.
Okay, up to here, I don't see any problem, okay?
Could he really let this be the end of his saga? In 2009, still in between decisions, Richard Garriott...
Oh, what's happening in 2009?
Called Portal.
Whoa,
This
Portalarium.
company originally dabbled in creating games for Zynga to launch on the Facebook gaming marketplace until the entire marketplace crashed a few years later. At this point, he made another life-changing decision. Richard Garriott would return to the past, back to Ultima. He was going to bring the legendary title
We're gonna take you back to the past
features to be considered
to
a
play the
part
shitty game to suck ass.
of the name. The company Portalarium was now repurposed, and with it came a promise. Lord British had returned, and with him, the future of massively multiplayer online role-playing games would be changed forever.
And I, as Lord British, will be with you in the game.
That never
and together we
happened.
will forge
Never
this
happened.
new world. I would like to invite you to join me and our team on the grand adventure of creating the next great role-playing game. As a modern reincarnation of what made your Avatar's adventures so compelling for the last few decades, I invite you to join us in the creating of Shroud of the Avatar.
The Kickstarter launch
Exciting times, okay? Exciting
modest
times.
sum of $1 million US. The project trailer featured the man, the myth, the legend himself, describing what to expect from what he called the next great role-playing game. Fans from around the world immediately started paying attention. After all, this
Hey guys, I'm currently playing the great next MMORPG.
industry. Not just that, but a game that has never truly been replicated in thought and feeling. How could they not give this man another chance? Especially when the alternative was to play the latest AAA MMORPG, created entirely for a casual audience and without much of the flair or flavour of worlds Richard Garriott had spent the last 40 years creating. As for Richard himself, he arrived just in time. People were desperate for new games, and Kickstarter had provided an avenue for those games to be created. Finally, players could finance ideas themselves and break their tether to whatever corporations willed for them to consume. So the pitch was simple: change the status quo. Role-playing games, in Richard's words, had focused too much on the level grinding and not enough on the role-playing.
And guess what happened? Shroud of the Avatar is
But they were too linear, too close. No longer did players
all about grinding as well. Look at me, look at me, look at my cat, not me. Look at my cat. My cat is in the mines grinding.
an identical experience to one another. Shroud of the Avatar would go back to when this was not the case. You would choose a role to play: an adventurer, an explorer, a trader, a crafter, a gatherer, all with branching paths of gameplay, deep enough to satisfy and wide enough to remain interesting for years to come. Not only that, but a world full of consequences, as choice becomes meaningless without. On a technical level, promises were made. A fully interactive world, meaning if you see anything, it will do something. A deep original fiction created alongside prolific writer Tracy Hickman. Not only that, but an option to experience the game anywhere with a solo or offline game mode function. All the features included classless character systems, giving players the freedom required to navigate an open experience and change their mind as they do, player housing in a persistent open world giving land value and prestige, deep crafting, a player-driven economy, meaningful player versus player, and much, much more. The campaign saw immediate buzz, not just from potential backers, but industry professionals.
Well, the classless system is true. That's not a lie. The housing system is true. That's also not a lie.
Not be curious about where it would go.
The grinding part, yeah, that's kind of half truth maybe,
More than others.
because there's a lot of grinding.
$1,000 package.
Deep crafting system. Guess what? It's very deep. It's very deep. You'll be spending hours just smelting iron. It's very deep.
To claim a rent-free city plot and wander the game's world with the one-time available title of Lord, emulating the creator, Lord British himself. Within 30 days of the backing window of Kickstarter, the project, which initially asked for $1 million, managed to raise just over 1.9. This came from a total of 22,332 backers, making it one of the most successful Kickstarter projects of the time, and maybe more importantly, proving a point to the entire industry. Fans were willing to put their money where their mouth is for products that interested them, even without a single slide of gameplay being shown, and there was tens of thousands of people out there who wanted a change in this genre. Throughout the next few years, a lot happened, but before that, we have to address the fortuitous timing of Lord British and his game's arrival. Maybe a coincidence, or maybe a long-term plan. The question remains without answer. The reality, Kickstarter was on a short fuse and it burned quickly. From the first MMORPG funded on the platform in 2012, Pathfinder Online, to March of 2013 when Shroud of the Avatar arrived, there was only a couple MMOs funded on the site. One being Star Citizen, it raised over $2.1 million.
Whoa, okay, Star Citizen, I believe they've raised like almost $1 billion. Amazing, that's amazing.
And perhaps nudged him in the Kickstarter direction. It seemed like the
Do they have a game?
dreams.
Well, if you ask the fans, yeah, they have a game. But if you ask the detractors, they have a tech demo. A tech demo is not a game.
Such as Kickstarter.
So, I guess it depends on who you ask.
Even if the legendary developers are involved. From Shroud of the Avatar in 2013, enthusiasts funded multiple titles until mid-2015. Those included Camelot Unchained, another spiritual successor to a beloved game called Dark Age of Camelot, Crowfall, which was a spiritual successor to Shadowbane, Chronicles of Valeria, a new title that promised features never before explored, such as permadeath of player characters as a subscription model, and rebirthed the new avatars to carry on a family legacy. These games, along with a handful of others, managed to slip into the public eye during a time when nobody knew any better. They climbed the ladder of public funding, and then pulled that ladder up behind them, not due to greed, but due to negligence, malevolence, or incompetence. Over the next few years, each of these games proved to not exist, show little to no progress.
What do you mean it doesn't exist? I'm playing Shroud of the Avatar right now. It exists. It's right here.
Initial ask of $500,000 in October of 2012, promising a 2014 release date, and they've since raised over $600 million, and despite having a playable alpha version with impressive tech, has not delivered a finished game, let alone the 2 games that were initially promised. Shroud of the Avatar was never as grand as that, though they did continue to sell backer items and raise money from the public for years to come, considerably more money than they claimed to have needed for a full released game. The initial pitch was $1 million, but by the time full release came, it was in the tens of millions instead. Despite that, Shroud of the Avatar suffered from its own unique problems that became increasingly more pronounced as time went on. Unlike many of the games featured in this video series, however, Shroud of the Avatar did release, but that, like many other games, was just the beginning of the end for Richard's return to glory. Following the end of the Kickstarter on April 7th, 2013, the hype was now real. The community was flourishing, bringing in fans of the Ultima series and newcomers alike. Whether people had played what Richard made all those glorious years ago, or heard about it on forums discussing greater days of gaming, the excitement was clearly visible. The community grew across many social media platforms, and discussions revolved around when Shroud of the Avatar releases, as if it was all but guaranteed. And those fans didn't need to wait for long. Unlike his competitors, who were raising millions of dollars, with just the promise of a future of brilliant online role-playing games, Richard was keen to deliver his to market first. Just over a year and a half later, Shroud of the Avatar Forsaken Virtues released onto Steam Early Access, taking advantage of the popular avenue of beta release, with a price tag to continue their already swelling crowdfunding. To those of you familiar with this video series, you would expect this to be the point I talk about how the review score.
Yeah, I got the only money I spent on Shroud of the Avatar was the money I when I bought it, and it was on a discount.
The reviews were largely positive, but there is a story to be told in the reviews themselves. Negative reviews speak of expectation, how players expected an old school game more in line with the classic Ultima Online. What they were delivered was old school in design and implementation, but not for the right reasons. The game was released with dated combat, dated graphics, and dated vision, but without the nostalgic.
Yeah, I would agree that the combat is very dated. It's your typical old school MMO where you just stand there and mash buttons or keys.
Like a cash shop to sell the most valuable items.
Or maybe I'm playing Shroud of the Avatar wrong. No, maybe I'm playing Shroud of the Avatar wrong.
Early.
Maybe my character shouldn't be just standing and me smashing keys.
Richard to fund the game in the first place. On the other hand, the positive reviews mostly speak of expecting what is to come and how good it was going to be, not of what it currently was. They talked of the foundation for the future, about a trustworthy man with a capable team and the building blocks to create the next great gaming experience. When they did discuss the current game, they said it was buggy, it lacked content, lacked clear vision, and was almost entirely placeholder as a game in Richard's own words. But at least it was playable, it was real, and this set it apart from almost all other Kickstarter projects, let alone MMORPGs. Of course, time would fix these things, these problems that people were talking about. Time would create the game people had paid millions of dollars for. Unfortunately, time also revealed Richard's dream for an altogether different experience from what was initially promised. Moving forward, by 2016, the game was in a much better shape in terms of playable content, though still nowhere near close to being a fully released game. The cash shop, however, was coming along real well. Players who missed out on the ground floor of a Kickstarter pledge and looking to own their own land in this ambitious new game were directed to what they called the Crown Store. As Richard said during an interview, quote, to be a property owner, you really need to be in the game for $100 to $150. And this price went through the roof.
As a gamer, I've never really have any problems with
Was
cash shops. For example,
US.
this game has a cash shop. Never bought anything with money with it
In-game currency, but
or
the
on it.
stuff was entirely restricted to the pay pigs.
The cartels I got came from the game itself or from prices
Gary explained Ultima Online had players
um,
selling their prime houses
given during events.
for thousands of dollars all the way back in 1997.
I did get a you know the I guess the village lot package, but it was worth $500. At the time I was like, maybe I should sell it. When I won this, when I won an event or it was a prize in some kind of event, I forgot. So it was like the village lot package. It was worth $500, and at that time I was like thinking, I was like, I was tempted in selling it, but at the end, I just chose to use it. I guess I should have sold it instead and gotten the money.
They were admittedly enjoying the game thus far, as well as the promise shown for the continuation of progress. The game was of course never incredibly popular in terms of online users, but full release would be expected to fix that. Before then though, the question of bankruptcy loomed in the minds of fans. A website appeared seeking additional funding, presented from Richard Garrett himself, claiming to be selling stakes in the company via a platform called Seed Invest. The first issue was that for Seed Invest to accurately represent the company to potential investors.
Again, yeah, what happened to the seed investment?
Players discovered this data.
Well, again, it's an investment, so
Despite over $10 million being raised by this stage,
it's a risk.
he currently had $528,000 remaining, with a monthly burn rate of $230,000.
Well, the salaries alone of game developers in the US are highly significant. So if you don't have massive funding, you will burn through your money just from salaries alone. That's why if you are a game developer in the West, it's better to outsource your production to, developers in the East. You'll have like more value, I guess, for your money, something like that.
Instead, keen-eyed fans started to point out that the Seed Invest portal displaying Shroud of the Avatar to potential investors was full of, let's say, mistakes. That's a very polite way to put it. Many users pointed out that the pitch displayed technology and features that simply did not exist. Richard also addressed this, though he openly admitted to there being some what he called inaccuracies. In essence, this pitch was using incorrect information in order to try to draw in additional funds from a community who had already given more than they should, but luckily this time knew better. At the same time, he was hoping to draw in unsuspecting investors who simply didn't know what they were being sold and how it was partially a little bit of a lie. Richard, of course, told fans not to worry. But what else is he going to say? Everybody panic, we're out of money, and we're going to have to release the game right now, which they did. Full release arrived on the 27th of March 2018, and this time, I can say that the Steam review score is more in line with what you would expect from Kickstarter to core, though likely still the best this series has seen to date. It's important to note, this graph with positive to negative reviews is misleading in that the numbers are also incredibly low, which is a much more telling figure than the split of opinion. For this next big thing game that was promised, only around 120 people felt the need to leave reviews. The game peaked out on launch day with 562 players. Less players than on average play random Ultima Online private servers, even though that game released in 1997, and this in 2018. Shroud of the Avatar at this stage had raised easily over $15 million from over 50,000 users, but less than 600 of them were logging into the service concurrently for what was claimed to be the biggest day in the game's history, the full release finally materializing. Unfortunately, this is also where things started to get much worse, which shouldn't really have even been possible, as things were already kind of rock bottom for the game and the fans. Richard, however, was keen to explore the unknown as he did previously in life, so at this point, he felt that rock fall beneath him and started to drill down, aiming for the Earth's core instead. Kickstarter physical rewards that had been sold over 4 years ago were still not fulfilled, no one could get an answer, and the game was still missing promised features from that same Kickstarter pitch. Founders of the company were leaving, such as Dallas Snell, who was there from the very beginning.
So it's basically just it's a classic case of over-promising and under-delivering.
The voice of the entire project, Richard himself, stepped down as CEO. Fans, of course, felt like this was a literal slap in the face for all those who believed in him, those that were fans of his games for up to 4 decades. It was really a very confusing turn of events, especially when Garrett reached out to publication MMORPG.com to inform them that he did not resign and that they as a company had just decided to remove the term executive from all roles, especially considering his was the only one that was ever on the website in the first place, and technically all companies are required to have a CEO on paper.
So I guess the CEO now is Chris Pierce, right?
This raised many questions. Who was in charge? What could make Lord British give up that role? And how could this be a good direction? But most importantly, what did this mean for the very near future? Fans of the project who had supported it with tens of millions of dollars as a combined effort, mostly due to Richard himself, didn't have to wait very long to get answers to these questions. A few days later, the buy-to-play game lauded as the future of online multiplayer role-playing games announced their transition to a free-to-play model. A surprise to absolutely nobody, and perhaps a chance to draw in some much needed fresh blood. Unfortunately, as with almost everything besides raising money from naive fans, this did not work. Looking at the Steam data for active players, you wouldn't even know or notice that the game had opened up to hundreds of millions of potential Steam players to flow in for the low price of nothing. The free-to-play launch saw the player base gain roughly 50 average players. This, along with the constant mismanagement of expectations, led to the next dose of bad news. Travian Games, Shroud of the Avatar's publisher, dropped the game from their roster, leaving the game entirely without publisher support. 3 months later, and a constant decline in fan opinions, Portalarium faced their second round of layoffs. If we remember back, Richard Garriott claimed that the Seed Invest portal was to raise money to expand the team. By this stage, there was almost no team left, and just how mismanaged was this whole project, as they were now firmly in the death spiral. If they couldn't stem the bleeding while having more staff and a publisher, what could they hope to do after losing both? But that strangely wasn't even the worst part. When Portalarium upsold their game's features in order to raise funding with actual shares of the business, these people who purchased them were official investors, which should have afforded them protections as well as access to financial records and reports. After all, they apparently now owned percentages of the company. According to these investors, however, they were being stonewalled, or more accurately, ignored entirely. Multiple investors were in contact with the Seed Invest platform, and Seed Invest were constantly reaching out to Portalarium. But there was no response, as well as there were absolutely no financial records being disclosed at all. These people who by law...
Maybe there are no actual records. Maybe they're writing it on water. Let's write it, let's record it on water.
Light. The Securities and Exchange Commission also failed to receive a report from Richard Garriott's Portalarium. Somewhere around this time, the company also closed their physical offices, claiming that this was just a temporary move. But as you could guess, it was not temporary. In fact, Portalarium announced a few months later that they had sold the entirety of the company, the game, and assets to a brand new company called Catnip Games. Fans quickly defined who Catnip Games was, and they discovered something strange. Chris Spears, who was the previous president of Portalarium alongside Lord British's leadership, was the CEO of Catnip. A very confusing turn of events, essentially completely removing Richard Garriott's business from the equation, despite it existing solely due to his...
Well, I guess you can say they knew how to use the law.
Discussing Shroud of the Avatar, as the game has floundered without
I guess.
development, although seeing some updates, and exists almost entirely for the disgruntled fans to make fun of or question what happened during each subsequent controversy. Fans did, however, get some answers as to where Richard Garriott had gone after wasting their money and abandoning them. He went to the same place as other once legend, but now fallen from grace game developers from beloved days gone by, straight to the blockchain. In August of 2022, fans discovered, without surprise but with disgust, that Richard was developing an NFT cryptocurrency game. The title was revealed as Iron and Magic.
Oh, Iron and Magic. Okay.
Iron and Magic has mysteriously vanished, much like Richard's involvement
So
in
what happened to it?
online role-playing games and the respect of his longtime fans. Catnip Games and Chris Spears claim Shroud of the Avatar is still being fully supported and will be going nowhere, but anyone familiar with the project should probably know better. The game will continue to go where it has been going since the initial early access release in 2014.
To go where no man has gone before.
It is closed for good. After all, it's impossible to trust the word of many legendary game designers themselves exactly where Richard Garriott now exists. Time and time again, they tarnish their legacy by trying to relive past glory and prove either to their fans or to themselves that they still have what it takes to roll back the years and change history again. Rarely, if ever, does this go to plan. The most often result is a headline that makes gamers collectively groan in unison, typically with the once greats of the industry dipping their toes into the sewer that is blockchain gaming, chasing the trend of what outwardly looks like greed or vanity.
Oh, where's the lawsuit? Where's the lawsuit? I think there was like, the title was about from Kickstarter to lawsuit.
In the MMORPG genres. But the last game in his legacy will go down as an abject failure, a game that has no right to really exist, as it was willed into existence on reputation alone. Sky-high expectations, which delivered nothing but disappointment, limping along now, exhausted, pretending that things are okay, waiting to be put to rest, just like its creator's legacy, hopefully never to be seen again.
Oh, that's harsh. The game is still here, look at that. I'm still playing it, Kira. Look at that. It's still here. Yeah, it's not, you know, it's not what it's supposed to be, but it exists. And I do enjoy the housing decoration part of the game. You will be spending hundreds of hours decorating your houses. And also crafting decorations and furniture for those houses. And if you want to craft things, don't want to buy from other players, you'll have to go out and grind for materials. Anyway, that was like, you know, the feature or coverage of Kira TV regarding Shroud of the Avatar. Or mostly it's mostly about Richard Garriott. Okay, so if you guys are interested in watching that, it's titled 15 million taken 10 years develop complete failure. That's yeah. That's the title. they know how to title their content. Okay, so I'm not starting another video because um yeah, it's almost the hour. Maybe in my next hour I'll start, you know, a new video regarding talking about Shroud of the Avatar. They are surely interesting. And I don't think you know, the developers of Shroud of the Avatar watched any of these videos. Yeah. Because I've said it like last time. Shroud of the Avatar is blameless. You don't, you know, the game did nothing wrong. It's the players, it's the people's fault for not playing it. Okay, so there you go. That was the alarm. That means an hour has passed. And again, guys, hope you enjoyed the stream. And if you did, please follow the channel in Twitch, Kick, D-Live, Rumble. You know, create a Rumble account. Use my referral link. And subscribe to the channel in YouTube. Like the video there as well. And hit that notification thing that, you know, many, if not most, content creators like to inform their viewers. So guys, thank you for watching. See you in the next one or in my next hour. Bye bye for now. We'll continue mining. It's grinding.